Hello everyone. Welcome to Mind Podcast Buddhism, the best channel for sharing knowledge about Buddhism. Today we will talk about the topic, the concept of emptiness in Buddhism. Understanding this profound teaching can help us see the true nature of reality and deepen our spiritual practice. Let's explore how this concept is presented in the Heart Sutra and its significance in our daily lives. The concept of emptiness in Buddhism. In Buddhism, meditation is considered a prevalent practice, but in reality, meditation is applied in all aspects of life without people even realizing it. For example, in modern scientific fields, the term meditation is understood as the process of research and using all stages of thinking to find practical applications to serve human life. If this research yields ultimate, successful results that can be applied for the benefit of life, it is called an invention. However, all scientific and technical inventions are aimed at serving humans in the material world to make life easier, more convenient, and to bring people closer together. For example, when scientists discover and launch satellites into Earth's orbit, nowadays everyone has a mobile phone and can watch live broadcasts of the World Cup on TV anywhere. Similarly, a doctor, before prescribing medication, must contemplate and examine to diagnose the patient's illness, thus unknowingly engaging in meditation multiple times daily. A student thinking about solving a math equation or a homemaker planning the family dinner are also forms of meditation. In summary, meditation is the process of contemplating and thoroughly understanding a particular object. What about the Mahayana concept of emptiness? For bodhisattvas, not only do they see the world as impermanent, suffering, and without self like the Shravakas, but they also perceive the true nature of phenomena as formless. What is formlessness? From the bodhisattva's perspective, the world is illusory and unreal, appearing as though it exists but is essentially empty. This is form as emptiness, meaning that although phenomena seem to exist, bodhisattvas do not cling to their apparent existence, so they appear as empty. Thus, bodhisattvas perceive both selflessness and the emptiness of all phenomena, unlike the Shravakas who only see selflessness. Consequently, Mahayana thought asserts that all phenomena are empty, conditionally arising like illusions, and thus bodhisattvas do not cling to the existence of the universe. Although phenomena appear to exist, in their minds, they are empty, which prevents them from needing to renounce the world and yet not being tainted by it, maintaining a state of nirvanic purity. For instance, Shravakas see human beings being born, aging, becoming ill, and eventually dying, which causes them to fear and despise the cycle of birth and death. Conversely, bodhisattvas contemplate the unborn nature of phenomena, meaning they see both birth and death as part of the cycle of existence. For example, when looking at a flower bud, one can see its unborn nature because the bud's blooming already contains the seed of its withering. Conversely, when it withers, bodhisattvas see it as the beginning of a new cycle of birth. Thus, birth and death, life and decay are endless cycles, making birth and death ordinary and not to be feared. In summary, from the Theravada perspective, life is impermanent, subject to decay, here today and gone tomorrow, prompting them to strive for nirvana to escape the cycle of birth and death. From the bodhisattva's enlightened view, all phenomena are empty, meaning the universe exists but is essentially empty, continuously cycling between birth and death. Unafraid of birth and death, they live joyfully and freely, unbound by attachment. Understanding and overcoming attachment means that their mind is always tranquil, with the Buddha nature manifesting without needing to seek enlightenment. Some meditators mistakenly think that contemplating and making everything in the world vanish into nothingness is Buddhist meditation, but this only leads to greater suffering and delusion. The emptiness in Buddhism means not being attached to desires and illusions, not trying to use supernatural powers to make everything disappear. The Buddha lived in a world full of material comforts like ours, but through the eyes of an enlightened being, everything was seen as empty and thus unclingable. Seeking emptiness out of aversion to the world's suffering leads to the same suffering. True emptiness in Buddhism is not about making things disappear, but realizing their impermanent, conditioned nature and not clinging to them. All beings possess inherent wisdom to directly perceive the truth, and the innate purity of Buddha nature is present in everyone. This innate purity does not require achieving nirvana. Enlightenment and Buddha nature are inherently present, not something attained through practice. When deluded, one does not recognize their inherent Buddha nature. When awakened, it becomes apparent, just like having a precious gem in one's pocket without realizing it. But once discovered, all suffering ceases. In the Heart Sutra it states, there is no wisdom and there is no attainment. In the inherent nature of emptiness, there is no wisdom or attainment because they are inherently present. The Diamond Sutra also teaches that the Tathagata Buddha does not attain the supreme enlightenment. The Tathagata is respected because they are free from self, others, sentient beings, and lifespan. The Tathagata perceives all phenomena with equanimity, without attachment, and always abides in virtuous conduct. Practicing Buddhism is described as returning to the other shore. The Buddha, like a person on the shore, sees sentient beings initially also on the shore, but deluded by desires and ignorance. They venture into the vast ocean, facing endless suffering. By following the Buddha's teachings and returning, they can reach the shore and live peacefully like the Buddha. This is the essence of returning to the other shore. In essence, the supreme enlightenment is not exclusive to the Tathagata. If all beings turn to their innate purity, the Buddha nature within them, they will achieve enlightenment. Therefore, all the countless methods in Buddhism aim to help beings return to the shore and live with their enlightened nature, inherently pure and bright. Returning to the shore, the true nature of the mind and Buddha nature manifest, allowing beings to live with clarity, tranquility, and bliss. The meaning of emptiness in Buddhism. In everyday language, the word emptiness is one of the most frequently spoken and written words, often used in phrases such as not to be, not to have, not to do, not to think, not to like, opposed to be, to have, to do, to think, to like. Emptiness can also mean nothingness, implying a state of being empty. Regardless of its meaning, emptiness refers to a reality or existence, as whether something exists or does not exist, it still engages the senses. However, when the term emptiness is used in Buddhist philosophy, its meaning transcends common language, becoming complex and abstract, challenging for everyone, including some practicing Buddhists, to grasp. This difficulty arises because the mind is accustomed to the conventional meaning of emptiness. The Sanskrit term for emptiness is shunyata, and in Pali it is sunya, translated into English as emptiness, nothingness, voidness, which generally means the same as the Vietnamese term and the meanings derived from it. Moreover, different Buddhist schools interpret emptiness in various ways. The term emptiness does not refer to a physical or psychological void or nihilism. In the Pali Canon, among the earliest Buddhist scriptures, the Buddha often denied the existence of a self through the concept of emptiness. The famous text Milinda Panya, Questions of Milinda or Natian Bhikshu, narrates an interesting story where Bhikshu Natian helps King Milinda understand the selflessness of all phenomena, including the self, anatta, through an analogy. Pointing to the king's chariot, he asks, "What is the essence of this chariot? Is it in the wheels, in the axle, in the frame, in the yoke?" Thus, the chariot has no inherent nature. None of the parts comprising the chariot contain its essence, and each part, when broken down into smaller components, also lacks a singular essence. Like the chariot, the self we hold dear is nothing more than a temporary aggregation of various elements: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. That self is empty. Emptiness can be understood as lacking inherent nature. The chariot lacks inherent nature because it does not exist as an independent, separate entity. Similarly, people and all phenomena lack inherent nature. To initially conceptualize emptiness, the Buddha used simple metaphors like an empty house. Bhikkhus, there are empty huts, meditate there. Through this simple story, those studying Buddhism can understand the core teaching of anatta, non-self. Just as a room can be empty of furniture, the mind and body are empty of self and anything belonging to the self. Thus, emptiness is synonymous with non-self, and non-self is emptiness. The Buddha said to his attendant Ananda, in one of the 2 discourses on emptiness, Sanatta Sutta, "I often dwell in emptiness," and he described a meditation practice where the objects of perception gradually become more refined until one realizes that this realm of perception is merely empty. At that point, emptiness becomes almost synonymous with nirvana, which is defined in many sutras as a mind empty of greed, hatred, and delusion. The eminent Buddhist philosopher Nagarjuna, in the 2nd century, elevated the concept of emptiness in his treatises by elucidating the implications of the Buddha's teachings on impermanence and dependent origination. Everything is in a process of arising and passing away, always becoming, and thus never truly being. Conditioned by countless interdependent causes, all things are empty, of any independent or intrinsic nature, and thus require no further explanation. Later Buddhist philosophical schools expanded the concept of emptiness to include all phenomena in the world. This is reflected in Mahayana scriptures, most notably the Heart Sutra. In this concise text, the term emptiness is repeated many times, indicating that emptiness is the core of the sutra. For instance, form is no different from emptiness. Emptiness is no different from form. Form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness is exactly form. Sensation, perception, mental formation, and consciousness are also like this. Everything depends on something else, and nothing exists in an independent and enduring manner. This sutra further teaches that emptiness is the nature of all phenomena, thereby extending the psychological insight to recognize that if one is empty of self, one will arrive at a comprehensive metaphysical view that all phenomena are empty by nature. Some Buddhist schools go further, asserting that everything we perceive depends on the mind for its perceived existence. Mind-only school, and thus everything is empty of intrinsic nature. Nothing possesses intrinsic existence, even the tiniest particles in the mind itself. All are interrelated, and all are empty. When Mahayana Buddhism entered China and later Japan, the concept of emptiness evolved in 3 directions. 1. Along with the complementary idea of thusness, tathata, suchness, the Tiantai school enriched emptiness by developing the concept of a universal Buddha nature inherent in all beings. 2. The Huayan school, encompassing both suchness and emptiness, emphasized the thorough interpenetration of all phenomena. 3. The integration of Taoist Wu Wei, non-action, with the no-mind, Wuxin, or no-thought, Wunian, in Chinese Zen or Japanese Zen Buddhism encouraged an approach free from form. Correctly understood, nothing exists since it disappears, and nothing does not exist since it occurs. Rather, it is simply empty, requiring a non-conceptual intuition of wisdom, like Kensho or Satori in Japanese Zen. Mahayana Buddhist scriptures center around the concept of emptiness. What about Theravada Buddhism? I will refer to a piece by Venerable Thanissaro Bhikkhu, a monk who practices meditation and has published numerous works on Buddhism in the West. Emptiness is a mode of perception, a way of looking at experience. It doesn't add anything to or take anything away from the raw data of physical and mental events. You look at events in the mind and the senses without the assumption of whether there's anything behind them. This mode is called empty because it's empty of the presuppositions we usually add to experience to make sense of it. The stories and worldviews we fashion to explain who we are and the world we live in. Although those stories and views have their uses, the Buddha discovered that the questions they raise of our true identity and the reality of the world outside pull attention away from the direct experience of events happening at the immediate present moment. Thus, they get in the way when we're trying to understand and solve the problem of suffering. For instance, suppose you're meditating and a feeling of anger arises, directed at your mother. The immediate reaction of your mind is to identify with the anger as my anger or I am angry. Then, you embellish the feeling by inserting it into a narrative about your relationship with your mother, or according to your general views on when and where anger toward one's mother might be justified. According to the Buddha, these stories and views bring a lot of suffering. The more you get involved in them, the more distracted you become from seeing the actual cause of suffering. The labels of I and my that have been placed on the entire process. As a result, you can't find a way to unravel that cause and bring the suffering to an end. However, if you apply the mode of emptiness, by not acting on or reacting to the anger, but simply observing it as a series of events in and of themselves, you can see that the anger is empty, with nothing to identify with or possess. As you become more adept at maintaining this mode of emptiness, you find that this truth applies not only to coarse emotions like anger, but also to the most subtle events in the realm of experience. Could it be that the practice of satipatthana, a meditation method established by the Buddha for contemplating the body and mind, beginning with breath meditation, helps one master this mode of emptiness? Many Buddhists and non-Buddhists with a cultural and intellectual background often delve into the teachings, analyzing each word. This is natural and reasonable, but in my humble opinion, no amount of reading can resolve all doubts. However, if we read the Buddha's teachings, reflect on life, live within the Triple Gem, and observe the lives of our teachers, study and practice will connect, helping us progress on the path. The understanding of emptiness will gently come to us at different times without us needing to know. This is important, for the teachings are vast, and it is not unusual if we do not grasp all the basics. It all depends on conditions. Returning to the concept of emptiness, Venerable Thanissaro Bhikkhu's perspective is very close to daily life, providing guidance on the path of practice. From this foundation, we can gradually delve into the Mahayana concept of emptiness. In general, the concept of emptiness teaches us to reduce the ego, lessen greed, hatred, and delusion, and avoid clinging to the unreal notions of self and mine, so we can breathe the fresh air naturally without needing to analyze it. The meaning of emptiness in the Heart Sutra. In Buddhist practice, attachment to the concept of existence prevents one from fully understanding the true nature of reality. However, attachment to non-existence, even as small as a mustard seed, is a significant hindrance. This is why ancient teachers often cautioned against clinging to the notion of emptiness. Yet the Heart Sutra repeatedly states that everything is empty. No eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no forms, no sounds, no smells, no tastes, no touch. While the sutra speaks of emptiness, earlier teachers advise not to grasp at emptiness. How do these two notions of emptiness differ? This is a critical point I wish to clarify for all monks, nuns, and Buddhists, to ensure that our path to enlightenment is not obstructed, but can progress more swiftly. To understand the concept of emptiness in the Heart Sutra, or the entire Prajnaparamita, perfection of wisdom teachings, we must first firmly grasp the doctrine of dependent origination, pratitya samutpad. Without a solid understanding of dependent origination, one can never comprehend the meaning of emptiness in the Heart Sutra. The emptiness in the Heart Sutra is grounded in the principle of dependent origination. If dependent origination is the truth, then emptiness is also the truth. Let us first examine whether any phenomena in this world are not products of dependent origination. For instance, when we look at a temple, where does it come from? Everyone knows it results from the combination of workers, architects, bricks, sand, stones, cement, etc. It never comes into being by itself. It requires the gathering of numerous conditions. Dependent origination means that things arise from the combination of many factors. Similarly, all phenomena in this world arise from dependent origination. Recently, scientists studying Buddhism have recognized that the Buddhist principle of dependent origination aligns closely with scientific understanding. Science involves analyzing things, and analysis reveals that nothing exists independently. Everything is a combination of many components. Hence, nothing can exist with just one cause or condition. It is a complex interaction of multiple causes and conditions. This reveals the clarity and detail of the Buddha's insight over 2,000 years ago. Things do not exist inherently, nor do they arise by chance or through the actions of a creator. They exist only when conditions come together and dissipate when conditions are lacking. The Buddha's teachings clarify this so that we no longer mistakenly believe that things exist independently or by chance. From a house to a table or chair, nothing exists independently. Everything arises from conditions. Even plants and trees, as well as humans, are born from dependent origination. For humans, it is as simple as the combination of father's sperm and mother's egg. Modern medical science further analyzes this into billions of cells that interact and function together. As long as they function properly, we live. When they deteriorate, the body disintegrates. Thus, nothing in this world escapes the principle of dependent origination. For example, consider a clock. What is its essence? We cannot say the hands, the numbers, or any part is the essence. It is the combination of all parts that forms the clock. When the parts are assembled, the clock exists. When they disperse, the clock ceases to exist. Though we see the clock before us, its essence is not truly existent. It is a temporary assembly, not an independent entity. This is why the Buddha said, "One who sees dependent origination sees the Dharma. One who sees the Dharma sees the Buddha." This underscores the importance of understanding dependent origination. Similarly, humans and all things in this world arise from dependent origination, hence lacking an independent, permanent essence. Though lacking a permanent essence, things still appear when conditions are right. Understanding this, we can move to the second step, the concept of emptiness in the Heart Sutra. We should not mistakenly think that emptiness in the Heart Sutra means nothingness or void. Emptiness is relative to existence. In this context, emptiness means that while things appear to exist, their essence is empty. They have no permanent, independent existence. Thus, though things appear tangible, they are essentially empty due to their dependent origination. Therefore, emptiness in the Heart Sutra is referred to as self-nature emptiness or intrinsic emptiness, meaning things have no independent essence but have a temporary form when conditions are right. Humans too arise from dependent origination without a permanent, independent essence. Thus, can we call it self? It is a temporary self, existing and ceasing according to conditions, with no inherent value. Yet we mistakenly believe in a permanent self and reality. This misunderstanding is called ignorance or delusion in Buddhism. Buddhists must develop wisdom to see things as they truly are, understanding the Buddha's teachings deeply and guiding others accordingly. Reflect on whether our body is permanent or temporary. If it were permanent, it would never decay. Due to dependent origination, our body becomes ill and eventually deteriorates. This is the undeniable truth. Therefore, the emptiness in the Heart Sutra refers to the absence of inherent essence, not absolute voidness. People often mistake emptiness for absolute voidness, seeing objects as real and space as void. However, the emptiness in the Heart Sutra refers to the lack of inherent essence and permanence. Thus, the Buddha said the body is non-self because it lacks a permanent essence and is subject to dependent origination and disintegration. Understanding the true meaning of emptiness, we recognize that the phenomena we perceive are neither truly existent nor non-existent. To say they truly exist or do not exist is incorrect. They are temporary forms arising from conditions. This leads to the Buddhist view that things are like illusions or transformations. Reflecting on this, I recall the poem by Zen master Tu Dao Han of the Lai dynasty. Exists, yet like grains of sand. Doesn't exist, yet like everything void. Existence and non-existence are like moonlight in water. Don't be attached to existence or non-existence. Tu Dao Han's imagery illustrates the dynamic nature of things. If we say things exist, they all seem to exist. Why? Because in their apparent forms, they are tangible. If we say they do not exist, they all seem not to exist because they are temporary assemblies. Therefore, existence and non-existence are like moonlight reflected in water. On a full moon night, looking at the water's surface, we see the moon reflected. Is the moon in the water real or not? If it were real, why can't we scoop it out? If it were not real, why do we see it clearly? Hence, it is a mere reflection, not absolute voidness, but not real either. Everything in this world is like the moon's reflection in water, appearing real but lacking inherent essence. Thus, things exist in a transient form, but their essence is empty. Misunderstanding this, people often cling to the perceived reality of phenomena, leading to attachment and suffering. Recognizing the transient nature of things, we understand that nothing is worth clinging to, thereby liberating ourselves from suffering. This is the profound insight of Buddhism. We find it challenging to progress in our practice because we see things as real, leading to attachment and obstacles in our path. However, seeing things as transient, we realize there is nothing to cling to, making the path much easier. Therefore, ignorance, the root of our misperceptions, is the cause of suffering. With wisdom, we see through our delusions, overcoming suffering. This understanding of emptiness leads to liberation, allowing us to navigate life without attachment. Some may argue that if everything is illusory and temporary, there is no need to do anything, leading to a nihilistic outlook. However, this view overlooks the essential balance between wisdom and compassion in Buddhism. while wisdom, prajnaparamita, reveals the emptiness and transient nature of all phenomena. Compassion, karuna, motivates us to alleviate the suffering of sentient beings. Therefore, a true Buddhist cultivates both wisdom and compassion, recognizing the illusory nature of suffering, but actively working to relieve it. Thus, the practice of Buddhism involves not only understanding the emptiness of all phenomena, but also engaging in compassionate actions to help others. This dual practice of wisdom and compassion embodies the true spirit of Buddhism, guiding us toward enlightenment while alleviating the suffering of others. This is the essence of the Heart Sutra's teaching on emptiness and its practical application in our daily lives. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who might benefit from it. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Hit the like button, follow, and turn on the notification bell. This is how you can show your support for me. Once again, thank you very much, and see you in the next videos.
What did the Buddha know about the law of karma and rebirth? Welcome back, everyone, to Mind Podcast. The law of karma and rebirth is one of the foundational teachings in Buddhism, yet it remains a complex and often misunderstood concept. For some, karma and rebirth may seem superstitious and outdated. Buddhism's teachings on karma and rebirth raise challenging questions. If the Buddha only taught about anatta, non-self, then karma and rebirth might not require debate. However, he emphasized that all things are without a permanent self, yet still subject to karma and rebirth. So if there is no self, what reincarnates? And if there is no self, how can anyone have karma? How does karma transfer from one life to another? Karma suggests that our lives are predetermined, lacking free will. If so, why did the Buddha encourage us to improve our lives? As I said, karma and rebirth are deeply nuanced issues. Life may appear more mysterious to you after watching this video, and your perspective may change entirely by the end. Welcome to the original teachings of the Buddha on karma and rebirth. In Pali, the word karma originates from action or deed, but here it specifically refers to intentional actions. Actions with intention behind them, encompassing thought, speech, and deed. Let me illustrate with an example. If someone asks you for directions to the nearest bank and you kindly guide them, you've performed a good deed, a good karma on your part. But later, you find out that the person went to the bank to rob it. Now, was your karma good or bad? Then you read in the news that this particular bank was notorious for laundering money gained from corrupt practices. So did the robber commit a good act? Was his karma good? Pause for a moment to jot down your thoughts in the comments. The answer might surprise you. Even though you directed a robber to the bank, you were unaware of his intentions, and your genuine intent was to help. Thus, you created good karma. The robber, though he accidentally exposed the shady dealings of the bank and led to uncovering other criminals, still acted with a harmful intent, creating negative karma. This shows that while the outcomes of our actions involve numerous external factors beyond our control, it's the intention within that defines karma as good or bad. The Buddha also taught that karma is created not only by actions, but also by speech and thought. These are the three channels through which intention is expressed in the world. Our thoughts, words, and deeds are like musical notes forming a chord. This chord is the key to enlightenment. We must harmonize all three elements. If one is off key, the harmony is lost. The process of enlightenment involves our entire being. Outward expressions of wisdom and compassion are meaningless without internal alignment. What the Buddha knew about the laws of karma and rebirth. The laws of karma and rebirth are fundamental teachings in Buddhism, but are complex and often difficult to grasp. For some, karma and rebirth may seem superstitious or outdated. In Buddhist tradition, karma and rebirth pose challenging questions. If the Buddha had only taught about anatta, non-self, there would be little to question. However, he emphasized that all things are without a permanent self and are still subject to karma and rebirth. So if there is no self, what is it that reincarnates? And if there is no self, how can anyone bear karma? How is karma transferred from one life to another? Karma might suggest a predetermined life lacking free will. If this were true, why would the Buddha teach us to strive to improve our lives? As mentioned, karma and rebirth are complex issues. Life might become more mysterious, and your perspective might shift after exploring this teaching fully. In Pali, the term karma originally meant action or deed, specifically intentional actions, those made with purpose, including thoughts, words, and deeds. For example, if someone asks you for directions to a nearby bank and you kindly guide them, you've performed a good deed, good karma. However, suppose you later find out that person robbed the bank. Is your karma good or bad? Then imagine the bank was found to be laundering money obtained through corruption. Does that make the robber's actions good? Despite helping a robber unknowingly, your intention was to assist, so you created good karma. The robber, even though he inadvertently exposed wrongdoing, still acted with harmful intent, creating negative karma. This shows that, although the outcomes of our actions are influenced by factors beyond our control, it is the intention that determines good or bad karma. The Buddha also emphasized that karma is created through our words, thoughts, and actions. These three channels express intention, much like musical notes forming a chord. This chord is key to enlightenment, requiring harmony among all three elements. The process of enlightenment transforms us entirely. Outer expressions of wisdom and compassion are meaningless without inner harmony. If we are filled with anger, desire, or envy, we may deceive others and even ourselves, but we cannot deceive the law of karma. If karma is indeed a law, who enforces it? The answer is emptiness. There is no one to punish bad karma or reward good karma. The Buddha illustrated this with a simple analogy. A stone thrown into a river will sink, while oil will float. This is the natural law, unchangeable. Karma functions similarly. The Buddha taught karma as a fundamental principle of reality, like gravity. We can understand and harness gravity or suffer because of it, but our concern is not why gravity exists, but how to use it for our well-being. The same applies to karma and rebirth. The Buddha observed directly how beings are reborn according to karma at the moment of his enlightenment. He saw existence as a continuous cycle of formation and rebirth, driven by cause and condition. Each new generation is shaped by the intentions and actions of previous generations, meaning rebirth is determined by past karma. The Buddha called this cycle of rebirth samsara. Upon death, accumulated karma forms a new being within one of the 6 realms of samsara. Good karma leads to rebirth in higher realms, while bad karma results in rebirth in lower realms. The Buddha taught that karma and rebirth are not mysterious or mystical. They are natural laws that can be observed. However, one must refine the mind to be highly sensitive to see this truth, something very few people can achieve. In the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha offers guidance on enlightenment. Once, while residing in Savatthi, a young man named Subhatodhyaputa asked the Buddha why humans are so different, why some live long while others die young, some are healthy, others frequently ill, some are beautiful, others less so, some are wealthy and others poor, some intelligent, others unwise. The Buddha explained that all this is due to karma. All beings are the inheritors of their karma. Karma determines the differences among sentient beings. For example, those who kill or harm other beings without compassion will be reborn in a lower realm, or if they are reborn as humans, they may have a short lifespan. Conversely, long life is the result of non-violence and compassion. People who cause suffering to others may be reborn in an unfavorable realm or with illness if they return as humans. Those without anger or resentment are reborn with attractive features, while those with a kind and respectful demeanor are born into high social standing and favorable circumstances. Generosity and charitable deeds lead to wealth, while a lack of generosity results in poverty. Wisdom arises from seeking knowledge from wise teachers, while neglecting such pursuits leads to ignorance. In this way, karma and rebirth explain the diverse conditions of life. The Buddha emphasized that our actions, words, and thoughts collectively shape our existence. The law of karma operates impartially, without need for a judge. It simply follows natural law, shaping our future based on our present intentions and deeds. The Buddhist concept of interdependent origination and self-regulating consciousness in a universe without beginning or end offers a natural framework for understanding this interconnectedness. The Big Bang Theory, which suggests a beginning, appears to challenge this view, but the singularity at the Big Bang's origin disrupts familiar physical laws. Ultimately, Science and spirituality complement each other, not contradict. Both are essential for humanity and the future. The Buddha's teachings provide a natural spiritual framework that supports modern scientific advancements. As science continues to explore, we find that the wisdom of 2,500 years ago remains relevant. These insights could eventually help humanity break free from its self-imposed limitations and illusions, leading to peace, happiness, and inner harmony. What the Buddha knew about the law of karma and rebirth. The Buddha taught that the root cause of birth is ignorance. In the 12 Links of Dependent Origination Sutra, he stated that ignorance gives rise to actions, karma, and together with ignorance is desire, another root of karma. All negative actions stem from desire, while good actions in the world arise from 3 positive roots: non-greed, non-anger, and non-delusion. They are still considered karma as long as ignorance and desire remain. Actions that stem from true spiritual intention, however, are free from karma because ignorance and desire have been entirely uprooted. Venerable Buddhaghosa, in the Vishuddhimagga, wrote, "Who commits karma? Who receives its results? There is no one at all. Only by understanding this is true discernment achieved." Buddhism distinguishes between 2 types of reality: conventional reality and ultimate reality. Conventional reality consists of things designated by name, while ultimate reality is the subtle truth. For example, what we call a table is a designation of conventional reality, based on how it appears. But on a more subtle level, it is just a collection of forces and qualities. In the same way, the names we use for gender, beings, or objects are merely conventional terms, and these forms constantly change. Thus, Buddhists do not believe in any permanent, unchanging essence. They separate the actor from the action, the doer from consciousness itself. So where is karma? A scholar once wrote that karma resides in the mind, yet few understand this idea. Karma encompasses all experiences, sensations, and influences absorbed by an individual. The subconscious mind retains not only all experiences, but also basic emotions and tendencies. Karma is not stored in a single location in the mind. In the ever-changing human organism, there is no single repository for mental or spiritual content. Every experience, emotion, or inclination, whether saintly or animalistic, depends on the continuity of each individual's mind-body relationship and its changes. Karma thus resides within the constant changes of the mind and manifests whenever conditions align. Long ago, King Milinda asked the Venerable Nagasena, "Where is karma stored?" Nagasena replied, "Great King, karma cannot be said to reside in any fixed place within the changing mind or body. Rather, it manifests according to the conditions of the mind and body, just as wind and fire have no concrete location." The process of rebirth. The term rebirth is somewhat misleading. It suggests a self that dies and then is reborn elsewhere, implying a transfer of identity from one life to the next. However, the Buddha taught that the idea of a separate self is an illusion. Therefore, there is no self that is reborn, for there was no self to begin with. Instead, karmic energy spreads throughout the world, leaving imprints that give rise to what we perceive as self or sentient beings. Understanding this is both challenging and crucial. Imagine throwing a stone into a pond. As the stone hits the water, ripples appear. At first glance, it may seem that the ripples are moving across the surface, but on closer inspection, you see that what appears as movement is simply water rising and falling in waves. The peaks and troughs seem to move as a wave, but in reality, they are a continuous process of energy transmission and transformation. Similarly, karma is not an object but a process, a sequence in which each event causes the next and is itself caused by the preceding one. The language we use may mistakenly frame this chain of causation as a solid entity, when in fact, it is an ongoing process. The Buddha described our experiences as combinations of the 5 aggregates, skandhas: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. These aggregates, like the red, green, and blue pixels on a screen, blend in varying proportions to create all experiences. Together, they form what we perceive as the self. The Buddha taught that karma is what creates the differences between beings. In other words, the distinctions between you, me, and a Shiba Inu dog are not due to us being separate entities, but because we are different patterns of the 5 aggregates animated by karma. This concept reveals that our identities are ever-changing compositions influenced by the effects of karma, reflecting the profound interconnectedness and impermanence within all existence. The importance of mindfulness at the time of death. In our previous example, we noted that waves do not spontaneously appear on water. They arise when a stone impacts the water, imparting its energy into it. Similarly, karma doesn't spontaneously manifest. It is created by our body, speech, and mind. If we remain in ignorance, driven by greed, anger, and delusion, without cultivating mindfulness in our actions, speech, and thoughts, we will remain imprisoned in the cycle of samsara. Now you can see that rebirth is not the transfer of an entity from one life to another. Rather, it is the transformation of karma. As the Buddha taught, our mind and senses are essentially the result of our past karma. Through our actions, speech, and thoughts, we generate karma, both positive and negative, which accumulates until our physical body weakens and the 5 aggregates, skandhas, dissolve. When this happens, karma radiates outward and continues in a new realm, creating a new being composed of the 5 aggregates determined by the accumulated causes and conditions, or karma. A noteworthy aspect of rebirth is the importance of the final thoughts at the moment of death, which can influence our next life. The final thought is often related to the most prominent experiences of our current life. For instance, if a person committed harmful acts, that memory might resurface at the end. Conversely, if someone engaged in virtuous deeds, such as building temples or practicing moral discipline, these memories might dominate their final thoughts. In short, whatever is strongest in the mind will likely emerge, or otherwise, recurring habitual thoughts will appear. For example, if we frequently harbor anger and resentment, those emotions will likely arise. On the other hand, if we cultivate love, compassion, and a willingness to help others, these positive thoughts will emerge. If no specific mental habit is present, then whatever external stimuli are present at the time of death may influence our final thoughts. Hearing is said to be the last sense to fade, which is why many religious traditions conduct prayers or chants near the dying to encourage peaceful and positive final thoughts. If positive thoughts dominate at the time of death, it can lead to a favorable rebirth. This does not erase other karmic results, but it does give weight to the final moments, which can influence rebirth. Thus, reminding those nearing death of their past virtues, such as their generosity, successful parenting, or kindness, is considered highly beneficial. People often have regrets or sorrow as they approach death, yet only recently has society recognized that death is an important part of life. Even in Western cultures that don't believe in rebirth, much attention is given to welcoming a newborn, yet few consider the importance of the final moments of life. Hospices and palliative care centers now focus on easing fear and anxiety in those nearing death. Another factor that affects the near-death experience is modern medical advancements, where clinical death can sometimes be reversed. Some individuals who have come back to life report near-death experiences. Dr. Raymond Moody, for example, has documented these occurrences. Common aspects in these accounts include a bright light, a sense of freedom from the body, and a peaceful state. Many people see themselves lying on a hospital bed and feel themselves moving toward a radiant light, fully conscious of the process. Most describe meeting a source of light, free of religious symbolism, but shared across various cultures. These experiences have brought renewed importance to the time of death. Among the 5 daily reflections the Buddha advised, one is the certainty of death. The Buddha emphasized that our final moments are incredibly important, so it is wise to reflect on them now, not waiting until the end of life. Our wholesome thoughts and actions related to compassion, kindness, and equanimity create a habit that we can carry into our final moments. Starting these practices now ensures not only a favorable rebirth, but also a sense of peace and happiness in this life, giving us better conditions for continued practice. For instance, if we are reborn in a supportive environment, it will be easier to engage in meditation and spiritual growth. Conversely, being reborn in poverty or in a society that doesn't support meditation can make spiritual practice difficult. Waiting until old age or near death to cultivate right thinking is unwise. Right thinking includes being aware of our mental states through mindfulness and attention. Our time on earth is brief, even if we live to 70 years, which is not long. We can view ourselves as guests here, participating in life as performers, always ready to take a bow. This realization may make life more challenging, but it also highlights the value of our brief existence and the importance of cultivating a peaceful mind and compassionate heart every day. Living in the present and mindful action. At first, we may feel stage fright, uncertain whether we'll perform well and whether we'll receive applause. If not, we feel disappointed. Recognizing ourselves as mere guests on earth, performing a play, is a proper view. However, waiting for applause is a wrong view. If we know we've done our best, we don't need anyone's applause. The only thing that matters is our sincere intention, aimed at kindness, benefiting not only ourselves but also those around us. By not focusing solely on ourselves, we can truly care for others. We should not neglect studying the teachings and practicing meditation, as only when we reach a certain level of progress can we help others. Otherwise, acting in ignorance can lead to unfavorable outcomes. If we obsess over our next rebirth, we are living in a dream, as the one creating karma now is not the one who will reap its results. The connection between actions and their results is tenuous and can be disrupted. For instance, someone who has accumulated much bad karma but creates significant good karma in the next life may never see the fruition of past negative karma, and vice versa. Take the example of Angulimala, who killed 999 people, yet became an enlightened arhat after becoming a disciple of the Buddha. His karma didn't have the opportunity to bear fruit in a monastery dedicated to spiritual practice. Conversely, the venerable Moggallana, although also an arhat, was attacked and killed due to past negative karma. Thus, we cannot precisely map karma to life circumstances, as the person who inherits our karma may be different from who we are now. The present moment, however, is what matters most. Doing good brings immediate happiness and peace in our mind, often benefiting others around us as well. There's no use in dwelling on past karma or future karma, as we cannot change the past or know the future. Worrying about them is unnecessary. Only the present moment is real. The past is like a dream, and the future has yet to come. When the future does arrive, it becomes the present. Tomorrow will never come. It's always today. We can only live in the present. If we fully focus on each moment, we will naturally practice mindfulness. This removes any doubt about impermanence, which becomes apparent. This clarity enables us to let go of all attachments and clingings. We can reflect, am I using each moment well? If we created negative karma in the past, we can quickly shift to good deeds, making this past a valuable lesson. Without this quick responsiveness, impermanence may carry us away so fast that we lose sight of what's meaningful. Clinging to past thoughts, views, and opinions is futile. We hold on to the body and mind, believing they are stable and permanent when they're not. Each moment passes by, which we can easily observe using a digital clock to witness each second ticking away. Have you ever watched the clock for 5 minutes to sense the fleeting nature of those moments? Once gone, the past is forgotten, except for a few notable events. This clearly shows that we are mere streams of experience without inherent substance. Mistakenly, we think our existence is real and substantial, living based on this misconception. Life is like a play, a creation where actors wear costumes, recite lines, and believe it to be reality. We want the theater to keep its lights on forever, but that's impossible. Each of us has personal struggles that cannot be overcome through negligence or ignorance. Change happens only through shifting our perspective. Our intentions create karma, originating from the mind. If we can't master our minds, it's difficult to avoid creating negative karma. The mind is prone to dwell on unwholesome thoughts like, I dislike this, I can't stand it, I'm afraid, I'm bored, all expressions of anger. Desires like, I want this, I must have that, are forms of craving, all rooted in the mind. Few people are willing to examine their own minds, thinking it's too hard. But they forget that creating negative karma burdens them even more with heavy consequences. Rarely do we experience inner enthusiasm, the sign of joy from within. Instead, most people are weighed down by negative mind states, not by external circumstances. Observe your mind. Each thought precedes speech and action. We can't speak without thinking first, nor act without the intention to do so. Sometimes it seems instinctual, but that doesn't mean it wasn't in the mind first. It simply means we lack mindfulness. Our mind is the most precious asset we possess. No gold or gem compares, as the mind holds the seed of enlightenment. If we fail to use it wisely, we're like someone burying treasure in the dirt. Unfortunately, this is common, as many aren't guided properly. Let us make use of this treasure by cultivating mindfulness, kindness, and wisdom in every moment. Embrace the present, as it's the only time we truly have. Preserving the precious mind. When we realize that we possess this precious jewel of the mind, we protect it so that it remains untainted, shining brightly to foster wholesome karma. The Buddha taught that it is not the action itself that holds the most importance, but the intention behind it. Even generosity can stem from an impure motive. For instance, if our intention in doing good is to accumulate merit for future gains, it is selfish. However, if it arises from compassion for those in need, it is ideal. Nonetheless, even if generosity is motivated by self-interest, it is still better than withholding, as the act of giving involves letting go of possessions, which creates good karma. The quality of karma is determined by the mind and its purity through meditation. If we practice meditation diligently, we gradually gain insight into the workings of the mind. Some may find satisfaction in just a bit of peace, which is itself a positive step. Observing the mind during meditation trains us to observe it in daily life, offering us more chances to create wholesome karma. If we feel tired of the endless cycle of gain and loss, praise and blame, success and failure, joy and suffering, we must resolve to let go of attachment. This resolve is supported by meditation but goes beyond it. Meditation helps us identify and eliminate seeds of greed and anger within ourselves. This process brings clarity to the mind, enabling us to recognize these seeds and find ways to counter them. Our duty in this life, as beings with all senses intact and the fortune of hearing the true teachings, is to protect our minds and realize its pure, radiant nature. With such a mind, we can progress on the path, discovering that no one is truly the master of this mind. Through this video, I hope you gain a fresh, positive perspective on life. With dedication to practice, we will eventually reap the fruits of peace and happiness. 15 signs you have cultivated your mind and accumulated virtue from past lives, reaping the heavenly blessings in this life. Dear friends, the good things present in your life, where do they come from? Could they be the seeds of kindness we have silently sown in the distant memories of another lifetime? Every thought and action we take weaves our own destiny. Goodness is not a coincidence, but the result of a soul that once knew how to love, forgive, and live according to life's principles. Good health without excessive care. Health is an invaluable asset for every person, but not everyone realizes that it is one of the greatest blessings bestowed upon us. A healthy body with few illnesses and quick recovery from sickness is not only due to diet or current lifestyle, but also the result of the good seeds we planted in past lives. According to the law of karma, good health is often the reward for loving actions and protecting life. People who truly cherish their own lives and others, from humans to animals, typically accumulate positive life energy. Those who do not kill, live naturally, or practice compassion towards all living beings create virtues, most clearly manifested in their health. Conversely, those who underestimate the value of life and often harm others or themselves will generate karmic retribution. They may face prolonged health issues, physical weakness, or endure illnesses as a way to balance the karmic forces created in their current lives. Rarely ill or quickly recovering from sickness. Individuals who seldom fall ill or recover swiftly not only take good care of their bodies, but also exhibit inner peace. Serenity in the soul helps maintain the body's balance, a concept increasingly recognized by modern medicine through studies on the impact of the spirit on physical health. Good health also indicates that the person is living in harmony with nature and humanity. They not only know how to take care of themselves, but also know how to cultivate positive energy, preventing resentment, anger, jealousy, or greed from harming themselves. Therefore, if you are fortunate enough to have good health without requiring too much care, be grateful and cherish it. Continue to live kindly, nurturing a serene soul, because health is not only a gift of the present, but also a testament to your journey of cultivating the mind and accumulating virtue from many past lives. Use that gift to spread more light into the world, just as you have done in the past. Your life seldom faces major difficulties. In the endless flow of life, no one can avoid challenges and hardships. However, there are those who seem to always pass through storms gracefully or avoid serious disasters. This is not by chance, but the result of the benevolent seeds they have sown over many lifetimes. Living a life with few major hardships is a manifestation of a soul that has learned to live according to righteousness, not doing evil or causing suffering to others. Such a person has sown good karma by maintaining honesty, love, and respect for everyone around them, not harming others for personal gain, nor letting greed extinguish the light of virtue. The law of cause and effect does not distort the beautiful actions from past lives, such as helping those in need, protecting the weak, or living a selfless life, which have quietly accumulated blessings. When you stand at difficult crossroads in life, these blessings will guide you like a light illuminating the path, helping you avoid danger and find an escape route. However, this does not mean that those who face few major hardships will not have challenges. Everyone's life has lessons to learn and challenges to overcome to mature. But the difference here is that for those blessed, these difficulties are often just minor tests without destructive nature. They can easily find help from benefactors or overcome them on their own through wisdom and inner strength. Smoothness in life also reflects a peaceful soul, free from attachments, not fixated on trivial matters. Such a soul is not easily drawn into life's struggles or disputes, thus avoiding many unnecessary troubles. If you feel that your life has few major difficulties, it is a sign that you have accumulated virtue from many past lives. Remember that living a benevolent and selfless life in the present will continue to maintain this blessing, ensuring that your life and those around you are always peaceful and happy. Meeting benefactors who help in life. Life is a journey full of challenges, and no one can go through it alone. Sometimes, in the most difficult times, you suddenly meet someone who appears at the right time and place, bringing you precious help like a miracle. These people are called benefactors, and their presence in your life is not random, but the result of the blessings you have sown before. In the law of cause and effect, meeting benefactors is a sweet fruit of the goodness from past lives. Perhaps you have been a benefactor to others, helping someone when they were stuck, bringing them out of adversity, or simply offering a word of encouragement when they needed it. Those selfless actions never disappear, but are preserved in the flow of destiny until they return at some point as helping hands when you need them the most. Benefactors are not always relatives or friends. They can be strangers who appear at the right moment, bringing you opportunities or guiding you to an escape path in life. They might be the ones who support you in work, open up a life-changing opportunity, or simply give advice or take an action that you will forever be grateful for. Those who meet many benefactors are often people who live with gratitude and humility. After all, benefactors only appear to those who appreciate help and do not exploit the kindness of others. Deep down, these people carry positive energy from the blessings they have accumulated. However, meeting benefactors is not only a stroke of luck, but also a reminder that to continue receiving help from life, you also need to become a benefactor to others. Be willing to help when you can. Share your light with those in need. If you are fortunate to meet benefactors, cherish them, thank them, and use that as motivation to continue living virtuously. Because thanks to your good actions, the circle of cause and effect will keep turning, bringing light back to you and those around you. You always maintain peace in your heart. Peace in the soul is a state that many people seek, but not everyone can easily achieve. In a world full of chaos, temptations, and instability, there are those who seem to always maintain tranquility, not being swept away by worries or the storms of life. This is not only a quality of an experienced person, but also a sign of a soul that has been cultivated over many lifetimes. In the law of cause and effect, inner peace is the result of living in harmony with moral principles, practicing compassion, and knowing how to let go of unnecessary things. In past lives, you may have practiced meditation, honed your wisdom, and elevated your heart to higher values. As a result, you have created a pure source of energy that helps the soul easily overcome life's storms. People with a peaceful soul often do not cling to the past nor worry excessively about what is yet to come. They understand that everything in life has its destiny, and every event is a lesson to train the mind. This understanding helps them not to get caught up in meaningless struggles and not to be easily hurt by slander or conflicts. Inner peace is also the result of tolerance and forgiveness. Those with a peaceful soul do not hold grudges, do not let hatred or jealousy gnaw at their minds. They know that forgiving others is also liberating themselves, allowing their hearts to be lighter. Furthermore, this state also reflects a strong connection with oneself and the universe. People with a peaceful heart often live in accordance with nature, know how to listen to their own emotions, and do not let negative things pollute their souls. If you always feel peace in your heart, cherish it. It is not only a blessing, but also a sign that you are on the right path in life. Continue to nurture this peace by living kindly, keeping sincerity, and never stopping learning from life. Peace is not a destination, but a journey that you build every day. When you know how to keep tranquility in your heart, you will become a light for yourself and for those around you. If you have a special talent, also known as a genius, is not only a gift of nature, but more profoundly, the result of training, accumulation, and cultivation over many lifetimes. A person with innate abilities in music, art, language, science, or any other field carries within them the marks of past efforts and passion. According to the law of cause and effect, talent does not arise from randomness. Those with genius have endured many lifetimes of diligent study, practice, and dedication to that field. Each time you strive, each drop of sweat shed in learning and creativity is preserved in the flow of the soul's memories. Upon rebirth, what you have accumulated becomes natural talents that make you seem inherently knowledgeable. However, talent is not merely a skill, it is a profound connection between your soul and your life's purpose. People with special talents often carry a mission. They not only know how to enjoy their abilities, but also use them to bring value to life. A talented musician can move others' hearts with melodies, an exceptional inventor can change the way humanity lives, or a skilled communicator can mend relationships among people. However, talent is also a challenge. If not used properly, talent can become a burden or be wasted. A talented person without patience, who does not know how to train and develop it, is like a precious gem buried in sand and dust. On the contrary, if you know how to cherish your talent and use it for good, you will continue to accumulate blessings for future lifetimes. If you recognize that you have a special talent, understand that it is not only a favor of fate, but also a reminder of responsibility. Use your talent to spread light, help others, and contribute to the goodness of life. Talent is the inheritance of past efforts and the seed of future achievements. Cherish that gift, nurture it with virtue and relentless effort, so that your talent is not only yours, but also a source of inspiration and benefit to the whole world. Receiving many thanks from others. 6. You often receive thanks from others. Sincere thanks are not only signs of gratitude and favor from those around you, but also evidence of the kindness and compassion you have spread in your life. When you frequently receive thanks, it is a clear indication that you have lived a meaningful life, always helping, sharing, and creating value for others. In the philosophy of cause and effect, every good deed you do not only leaves blessings for yourself, but also sows seeds in others' hearts, a seed of trust and appreciation. A person who often receives thanks is someone who knows how to live with generosity without calculation, more than willing to help others when needed without expecting anything in return. Thanks are also the bonds that connect you to the world. When you help someone overcome difficulties, you not only give material things or time, but also provide spiritual comfort, soothing the pains in their souls. Small actions like comforting a sad friend, giving way to an elderly person, or simply listening to someone's story can make them feel grateful to you. Those who receive many thanks often carry a positive energy that makes others feel safe and trustful. This is also a sign of a compassionate soul that knows how to love and cherish life. They not only do good things in the present, but also carry blessings from past lives, where they were sources of support and encouragement for others. Remember that thanks are a two-way gift. When you receive them, you not only receive blessings, but also a reminder that you have contributed to making this world better. Continue to spread kindness because goodwill is never meaningless. It always returns in many forms that you cannot anticipate. You easily forgive and do not hold grudges. Forgiveness is not only a noble act, but also a sign of a mature soul that has gone through many profound lessons in the flow of human life. People who easily forgive and do not hold grudges are those who understand the value of tolerance, deeply ingrained in the law of cause and effect, and know how to let go of unnecessary burdens in life. In the law of cause and effect, the ability to forgive shows that you have practiced letting go over many lifetimes. When you do not cling or hold resentment against others, you free yourself from the bondage of suffering and attachment. People who do not harbor grudges understand that every mistake stems from ignorance, lack of understanding, or circumstances beyond human control. Forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but a manifestation of a strong and wise soul. Holding grudges only makes the mind heavier, like carrying a large stone on your path. People who easily forgive are those who have let go of that stone, understanding that forgiving others is also liberating themselves. Those with this ability have often accumulated compassion and empathy over many lifetimes. They realize that everyone makes mistakes, and forgiveness is a way to alleviate suffering, not only for others but also for themselves. They know how to view every issue more tolerantly, not placing personal ego above all, and valuing the peace of the soul over clinging to wounds. Easily forgiving does not mean forgetting the lessons others have brought you, but rather letting go of feelings of resentment to free your soul. Forgivers do not accept evil, but also do not allow themselves to be assimilated by the suffering that evil brings. If you realize that you can forgive easily, it is a sign that you have cultivated wisdom and compassion over many lifetimes. Cherish that and continue to nurture your soul by living virtuously, being open and tolerant of others' mistakes. Forgiveness not only helps you live more lightly, but also spreads peace to those around you. When you forgive, you not only free yourself from suffering, but also help others feel the power of kindness, a power that can change lives. A power that can change lives. You always encounter good opportunities in work and life. There are people who seem to always come across good opportunities, smooth careers, favorable lives, as if everything is already arranged to help them succeed. These opportunities are not random, but the sweet fruits of the good deeds they have sown in previous lifetimes. According to the law of cause and effect, encountering good opportunities is a manifestation of blessings from diligence, honesty, and kindness that you cultivated in the past. Perhaps you have helped someone when they were in difficulty, devoted yourself fully to your work, or lived with the mindset of always bringing good value to others. These actions, though small, create a positive energy that attracts good things to come back to you. People who often encounter opportunities are also those who know how to seize and cherish them. This not only comes from blessings, but also reflects your wisdom and readiness. No matter how big an opportunity is, it becomes meaningless if you do not have the ability to recognize and utilize it. Those who always have good fortune in life often have a proactive mindset, knowing how to view every issue positively and make good use of what they have. Additionally, frequently encountering good opportunities also shows that you have favorable connections with those around you. Perhaps you have been a benefactor to someone in a past life, and now those connections have returned in the form of good opportunities. This is how the universe operates, a never-ending cycle where what you give will always come back to you, sometimes even more than what you have given. However, opportunities also carry a lesson, whether you have enough gratitude and responsibility not to waste them. Those who have blessings but do not know how to cherish them or use opportunities to do good will gradually lose those blessings. On the contrary, if you use good opportunities to continue sowing good deeds, you will not only succeed in this life but also accumulate many blessings for the future. You are loved and trusted by many. You are loved and trusted by many. Being loved and trusted is not random, but the result of how you live and treat everyone. It is a sign of a sincere soul that knows how to respect and share, while also carrying blessings from good actions in the past. People who are loved are usually those with a generous heart, who think of others and do not calculate their own interests. They have the ability to spread positive energy, making others feel safe and comfortable in their presence. The affection they receive is the sweet fruit of their sincerity, as they know how to care and help without expecting anything in return. Trust is also not easily earned. It is the result of living honestly, keeping promises, and not harming others' trust. Trusted people often have admirable qualities, knowing how to place the common good above personal interests, and never betraying ethical values. If you receive much love and trust, it is a sign of blessings from living righteously over many lifetimes. Continue to cherish this by dealing with others sincerely, respecting relationships, and continuously spreading love. You have good family relationships. A beautiful family is the root and foundation of happiness, and a harmonious and loving family relationship is a clear manifestation of good karma accumulated over many lifetimes. Family relationships are not coincidental. They involve encounters that repay debts or continue the good connections that were established in previous lives. A happy family is often the result of you or other members having lived selflessly, with tolerance and nurturing love over many generations. If you have a harmonious family, it signifies that you have sown beautiful seeds in the past, always valuing relationships and being ready to sacrifice for those you love. People with harmonious families also know how to maintain and build strong bonds in the present. They do not let minor conflicts break their affection, but always seek to resolve issues with understanding and love. If you are living in a happy family, cherish it and continue to nurture your happiness. A family is not only a blessing, but also a great lesson that helps you cultivate tolerance and learn how to love unconditionally. You have deep compassion. Deep compassion is a noble manifestation of a refined soul that has endured and understands the suffering of humanity. People with deep compassion are often empathetic and always willing to help others without ulterior motives. This is a sign that you have accumulated compassion over many lifetimes, living selflessly and lovingly. Deep compassion is not only a feeling of pity, but also specific actions to alleviate others' pain. Such people cannot stand to see someone suffering, experiencing injustice, or trapped in despair. They are ready to lend a helping hand, even if it sometimes causes them to suffer according to the law of karma. Deep compassion is also a sign of a heart that has endured much hurt and understands the fragility of human life. Through these experiences, they have learned to treat others with love instead of judgment. If you feel you have deep compassion, it is a great blessing. But compassion also comes with responsibility. Use it to help heal and bring hope to those in need, while also knowing how to balance it so that your compassion does not lead to exhaustion or being exploited. Deep compassion is the guiding light that helps you live a meaningful life and leave a positive impression on others. You easily achieve what you desire. When you frequently achieve what you wish for, it is not only luck, but also a manifestation of blessings from past karmas. The act of wishing and achieving good outcomes indicates that you have lived rightly, diligently, and created much value for life. What you achieve today reflects the efforts and patience from many past lifetimes. You have sown the seeds of trust, perseverance, and kindness, so your legitimate wishes easily become reality. Especially those who know how to do good deeds and live selflessly are often supported by the positive energy of the universe, helping them achieve their goals smoothly. However, achieving desires does not mean you should be complacent. Instead, continue to act with gratitude and use your achievements to help others, spreading goodness. This not only keeps your blessings growing, but also helps you connect more deeply with humanity. You always maintain optimism. Optimism is a sign of a strong soul that understands the nature of life and always views everything in a positive light. An optimistic person is not someone who does not face difficulties, but someone who knows how to overcome them with faith and hope. This indicates that you have cultivated calmness over many lifetimes, learning how to face challenges without being overwhelmed. Optimism is not only a manifestation of intelligence, but also the result of accumulated blessings. People who live virtuously and do not harm others often carry a bright energy, which helps them always view life positively, even in the most difficult circumstances. If you can maintain optimism, cherish it. Optimism not only helps you overcome obstacles, but also spreads positive energy to those around you, making the lives of both you and them lighter and happier. You have a rich spiritual life. People with a rich spiritual life often possess a deep connection with spiritual values. This is a sign that you have practiced meditation or lived a mindful life in previous lifetimes. A rich spiritual life is not only about believing in something higher, but also about understanding the meaning of life and the interconnectedness of all things in the universe. Individuals with developed spirituality often feel inner peace and easily find joy in simple things. They know how to balance material and spiritual aspects, ensuring that everyday temptations do not obscure their path. If you feel a strong urge to explore spirituality, philosophy, or life principles, or if you experience peace whenever you meditate, this is a great blessing. Continue to nurture your spiritual life, as it not only brings you peace, but also serves as a guiding light for those around you. You feel content with life. Feeling content with life is one of the greatest blessings a person can possess. This contentment does not depend on whether you are rich or poor, but stems from understanding the value of what you have and continuously living with gratitude. Being content with life is a manifestation of a soul that has reached maturity, no longer chasing endless desires or competing with others. It is the result of living simply, cherishing the present, and letting go of unnecessary things. Content individuals are often those who have gone through profound lessons in the past, understanding that true happiness does not lie in material possessions, but in how you perceive life. If you feel content with your life, it signifies that you have accumulated many blessings over numerous lifetimes. Continue to maintain gratitude and live kindly, as this contentment not only helps you live happily, but also inspires those around you to find light in their own lives. Dear friend, everyone's life is an endless flow of cause and effect, where every thought, word, and action weaves the fabric of destiny. The blessed signs you receive today are not random, but responses to what you have sown in previous lifetimes. However, the important thing is not only to recognize these blessings, but also to use them to continue spreading value in life. Blessings are not meant for complacency, but are opportunities for you to live deserving of that luck by helping others, sowing more seeds of goodness, and creating better circles of cause and effect. Remember that blessings are like candles that only shine when they light other candles. Whether it's health, community, love, trust, or any other good things you have, they are tools for you to continue doing good, cultivating your spirit, and enriching your soul's journey. Life is impermanent, but the law of cause and effect is unchanging. Therefore, living beautifully today is not only how you enjoy your blessings, but also how you build blessings for the future. By living with gratitude, love, and tolerance, you not only make your own life more meaningful, but also become a beacon of light for those around you. Live like a flower that blooms quietly, spreading fragrance humbly before storms, and rising from the simplest things. This is how blessings always accompany you, not only in this life, but forever in future lifetimes.